This is the Picard podcast on TV Podcast Industries. We're back for our final chat about Season 3 of Star Trek Picard.
What began over 35 years ago ends tonight.
Welcome back, fellow Trekkies and Trekkers. This is TV Podcast Industries. This time we're here to announce the winner of our Star Trek Picard Season 3 10 Forward pub quiz and discuss your finale feedback. I'm one of your hosts, Derek.
Hello there, fellow Trekkies. I am one of your other hosts, John.
And rounding out this trio of bridge controls, I am Chris.
Nice, Chris. Which bridge control would you be?
I want to say security, but I'm not. I'm going to be like the nerdy guy, and not even the science officer. Like, it's going to be the guy beside the science officer that always gets killed by the explosion first.
Could you be the cook that once flew a ship and is made to become the pilot of the Enterprise? How about that?
Yeah,
How about that?
I could do that. I could do that. I'm also probably going to get shot first. I know I'm going to be a red shirt. It's the way.
It is your favourite colour, after all.
It is.
Yes.
It
Good
looks
stuff.
good in my eyes.
Well, welcome back, fellow Trekkies and Trekkers. We are going to talk about Picard for one final time. And the main reason for that is because all the way throughout Season 3 of Picard, and actually the first two seasons, we've been running our 10 Forward pub quiz. One question through each episode, which will lead you to some Star Trek Picard goodies. And you have been answering those questions throughout the season. Thanks so much to everybody who's entered the pub quiz. You were entering it through sending us emails to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com, where you can still send your thoughts about any of the shows that we're covering. And it's been a lot of fun. It's also been a lot of fun trying to find Star Trek Picard Season 3 goodies to give away.
Absolutely.
There's 3 sites that I use, all the official sites, the CBS site, the Paramount site, the American Star Trek site, the European Star Trek site. And weirdly, there's so little in the way of branded Star Trek Picard Season 3 goodies. There's stuff from Season 1, all the Picard Vineyard stuff. There's Picard Crest stuff from Season 2. The Daystrom Institute they have mugs for that. They have almost nothing for the third season.
It's really weird.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Considering
this is the one that's hit so big with audiences that they had the last 2 episodes out in IMAX cinemas in the US. You'd think, well, maybe it was that. Maybe it was that they didn't realize because it was the last 2 episodes, not the first episode of the season, right? Maybe they didn't know what they had.
Maybe. Or the cost of Merc has gone up, with the cost of living, you know?
Yeah, but
pottery mugs.
But the fans are the ones that are going to have to pay
roof.
that. Yeah. So they put that on the fans. But I have found some wonderful beer steiners for our winner, which goes very well with our pub quiz theme, right?
It does.
Yeah. We have an awesome Picard beer steiner and a glass beer steiner with the awesome Starfleet logo on the front of it. So there you go.
Nice. You can do that while you have your own poker night. Poker chips not included, and neither people to play poker with are included. There you go.
Yeah.
Use the beer steiners.
There you go. Maybe I should have got a poker set. But there's no branded Star Trek poker sets either. But anyway.
Star Trek, what are you doing?
I honestly think they did not think they had this level of a hit on their hands.
Yeah.
They're only bringing back the Next Generation. Why would no one tune into that?
Season 2.
Yeah. But they didn't have the full, group. Worf. Yeah. They didn't have Geordie, you know?
I know.
I just, because it's also, I've seen so many of the USS Titan t-shirts. Mm-hmm. That Shaw, Todd Stashwick, he kind of also put one out, and that sold out within seconds on to the point it was being ripped off.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's just, but then even I was like, oh, I kind of want one of those. I can't find it anywhere.
Yeah. See?
Even with the rip-off sites that copy other good ones.
That's what I mean.
Crazy.
It's like what they had with the original Next Generation with the new elements introduced for this third season.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Nightmare.
Exactly. You'd think they were there. I have seen some action figures of some of the major characters from the show that are being released in a few months' time, but I have a feeling in a year's time there will be loads of season 3 merch. But we do have to close down our 10 forward pub quiz at some point. And of course, given that we were on holidays for 3 weeks in between the end of Picard season 3 and this podcast, I was hoping that by the time I get back there'd be loads more, but there wasn't. The prizes, though, are really good. You are going to enjoy them when you get them, whoever does win the pub quiz. With that, let's get into our Star Trek Picard Season 3 10 Forward pub quiz questions and answers. Because you need to know the answers, of course, for the questions, right?
Yes, you do.
Yes, that's quite critical.
So, on episode 1, The Next Generation, the question was, what was the name of the whiskey that Jean-Luc Picard and Will Riker shared in the bar? And the answer was Swafford whiskey, which they shared in copious amounts. In their very short conversation, I think they went through about 3/4 of a bottle, didn't they?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, they really did swig quite a lot of that.
They know their whiskey.
A drunk, staggering Picard and Will Riker.
I think that's why they thought their plan would work, of taking over the Titan under a security review.
For episode 2, episode called Disengage, we had this question. What is the name of the drug that Sneed makes Raffi take to prove that she's not Starfleet? The answer was Splinter. Not Splinter the rat from TMNT. No. Splinter the drug.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. For episode 3, 17 seconds, our question was, what beverage does Worf, son of Mog, House of Martok, son of Sergei, House of Rosenko, Bane of the Duras family, Slayer of Gowron, offer to Rafina?
I'm so glad you got that question again. I forgot how long it was.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like, why do you think I quickly came in on episode 2?
Or the shorthand for question 3 is, what beverage does Worf offer to Raffi?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is chamomile tea.
See, a good beverage from Worf to Raffi.
Well, it is a bit like drinking daisies. So, yeah, I don't know about that.
I did give a tip to our wonderful listeners to the podcast that when we're doing a pub quiz, always check out what liquids are in the episodes, because a lot of the questions may form around liquids. That was our second one. Our third one is for episode 4, No Win Scenario. The question was, what cheap bottle of whiskey do Picard and Jack share? And the answer is Jameson. Boo.
That's an outright disgrace.
Isn't it?
Although it probably is the cheapest. It is probably the cheapest Irish whiskey behind the bar.
Yeah, but we're a tiny, tiny country. Yeah?
Well, there's loads of them now.
And Jameson surviving into the 25th century, 24th century, you would expect that would not be a cheap whiskey. But anyway, the answer is Jameson.
They could have done something worse, like Jack Daniels.
Controversial. Or Johnny Walker Red Label.
Yeah. There you go.
If you want to go Scotch.
Yeah, let's go for Scotch. Moving on to the next question. For episode 5, Imposters. What are Raffi's weakness according to Worf? The answer is impulsiveness, stubbornness, and short-sightedness. Mm-hmm. Because Worf loves the Ness.
He does.
He really does. For The Bounty, episode 6, our question was, what is the designation number of the USS New Jersey found at the Fleet Museum? And the answer is the NCC 1975. Showrunner Terry Matalas was born in New Jersey in 1975.
Yeah. Quite cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's the USS New Jersey, NCC 1975. Nice little touch there.
Good stuff.
On episode 7, Dominion, the question was, why would a Vulcan never go to Aklan 7, according to 7 of 9? And it's because of the Anti-Kolinahr demonstrations. If you remember, Kolinahr is the ritual that purges Vulcans of their emotions. So there was an Anti-Kolinahr demonstration in Aklan 7, which is why no real Vulcan would go there, right? So, very good.
Guess.
Very good. I'm going to take this one. I know we're in a round robin, but I'm going to take this one because this is the one that we messed up. Our original question for question 8 was, what are the digits of Picard's override code entered by the tactical officer, Lieutenant Moore, on the bridge of the Titan as he was controlled by Jack Crusher? But it was impossible because it was only in one frame of the scene. I say impossible, but Victor Sellers did send the answer to this question. He said, FYI, from the original question, the code is 1211 Picard Alpha Tango 75. It's on the panel behind Vadic, but only for a millisecond.
Wow.
Yeah, we couldn't even find that when we went back to look for the answer to the question. We just thought it was on screen for longer than it was. So, yeah.
Well done, mate. That is amazing.
Victor Sellers, an automatic entry into our draw for the pub quiz goodies. So even if you didn't get all the rest of the other questions right, you're already in the draw.
Yes, exactly.
The other question that everybody else had to answer for episode 8 Surrender was, what new Betazoid word does Deanna Troi teach Will Riker when they are imprisoned on the Shrike? And the answer was Vintaru, translating as "you big baby."
I will be using Vintaru a lot.
There you
Isn't
go.
that right, John Vintaru?
Whatever, Chris Vintaru.
Yeah, big baby. I love it. Moving on to the next question. Episode 9, Vox. What is the name of the research academy on Vulcan where Jean-Luc tries to send Jack to? The answer is Keslovar.
Mm-hmm. Not so much as a research institute as a prison, right? That's what Jack said.
Well, or a psychiatric institute of some description. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's lobotomy all the way for Jack, I guess, if he went there. But on to episode 10, the last generation question. What 2 words do Klingons never admit to knowing? The answer is defeat and farewell.
Ooh, I love that.
Excellent stuff.
Yeah, I love that. That feels very Klingon. It feels like you may have been able to guess that from their race and how they interact with everybody else in the galaxy, right? So, yeah, great line.
Excellent stuff.
That's it. That's the 10 questions. Well, 11 or 10 correct ones and one incorrect question. We got lots of entries in throughout the season, but a couple of difficult questions may have thrown some people. Maybe the question on question 8 that was impossible may have stopped people entering the quiz at that point with their answers. But we do have 6 correct answers plus Victor's additional entry. We've got Dr. Bob Phillips, Liam Sinclair, James Lawton, Victor Von Doom, of course, Will Walton, John Edwardson, and another entry for Victor. So let's see who will win the Star Trek goodies. Let's give us a number between 1 and 7. Chris, do you want to do the honours?
Sure. Hey Google, randomly select a number between 1 and 7.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Hey Google, randomly select a number between 1 and 7.
2.
The answer is 2. 2. Ha ha ha.
So the winner of the pub quiz then is Liam Sinclair. Well done, Liam.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, well done, Liam. Congratulations. Yes.
I'll be in contact with you in the next couple of days to get the details of where to send your Star Trek Picard goodies to. I will be honest, we're only just back from holidays, so it's going to be next week at this stage when I get in contact with you, but it will be very soon, and then we'll get your Star Trek Picard goodies out to you as soon as we possibly can.
Excellent stuff. Yes, thank you to all the quizzers and fellow Trekkies and fellow Trekkers that joined the 10 Forward pub quiz for this final season of Star Trek Picard. Mm-hmm. Really good participation from all our fellow Trekkies and Trekkers. Great stuff. And congratulations again, Liam.
Yes, thank you so much, Liam. And congrats to you and congrats to everyone. We always have fun doing this. All of us pull these questions together. John is our quiz master, but we all have a finger in the pie that is the questions. I'm not going to take the original question of which of the passcode was, because that was 100% him.
Yeah, that was me.
Everyone was angry. That was him and Derek. Not taking that one. But all of us have questions in there. So congrats to everyone, and especially congrats to you, Liam, on winning the prize.
And the last ever 10 Forward pub quiz, because that is the end of our Star Trek Picard season 3 coverage and the final episode, of course, of Star Trek Picard. So we won't be going back to 10 Forward, unfortunately, in the future.
No.
Yeah, but there
Sadly.
will be loads more pub quizzes coming up on TV Podcast Industries. Make sure you stay subscribed to TV Podcast Industries for all the things we've got coming later on this year. But to close out our season of Star Trek Picard Season 3, we do have some feedback from our awesome fellow Trekkies and Trekkers. First up, we have an email in from Virat who said, crying is a weapon of pain. If Seven, Raffi and Jack have a threesome, I will not watch. Janeway, where are you? Shaw has a heart of gold. Friends till the end, my friend. Thank you for a wonderful podcast. You made the show more enjoyable. You are the first to ever read out my email on air. Not once, but twice. I feel the love of Star Trek in all your episodes and wish for a better world. Now and into the future. Live long and prosper. From Virat.
AKA President Chekhov.
Yes.
Yes. Excellent stuff. Thank you, Virat. Yeah, I must say, Janeway, I was wondering where she was. It was a shame we didn't get a little glimpse, but apparently I think there was supposed to be Janeway in there, I guess.
There was actually, since the show has aired, we actually saw some interviews with Terry Matalas, who was talking about the types of things that he wanted to include in the show, and absolutely one of the things that he wanted to include was other characters that weren't in there. What he mentions, I've got a couple of quotes from the actual article where he was interviewed, where he says, firstly about Rolaren, he says they found Rolaren in the dungeons of the Intrepid with Tuvok and that she had survived. We weren't able to pull that off. Harry Kim also appeared at one point. We really wanted to bring him back. We wanted Kate Mulgrew to be part of 7 of 9's promotion. These are all things that at first, they were all in the first script. And then the line producer says, are you out of your effing mind? You can't afford these things. You're not doing Avengers Endgame here. So they got to go away. And so those are the regrets. But I'm really happy with what we were able to pull off. He also says there were characters I really wanted to see again in the original finale script. It was a giant movie that we were building on a television time schedule. The fact that you saw what we saw was miraculous that we pulled it off. It nearly killed us all. But there was also a scene where Soji and Data meet up that we just couldn't afford to do.
Excellent stuff. Yeah. So certainly I think those were in the pipeline. And I guess like with all TV and indeed movies, there is the production and budget elements that do factor into it ultimately. And
also schedules. Remember this was being filmed just after the end of COVID, so people may not have wanted to travel to LA at the time when they were doing their filming. Of course, budget's going to be a problem, but if you need someone for a cameo for 5 minutes and they can't fit into the scheduled time, then unfortunately you have to drop that as well. So it's so interesting to hear that that's what they were thinking about. That's the kind of characters that they were, of course, thinking about. Also recently, the actor who played Harry Kim was talking about it and said he was approached to do 3 episodes of the show, but his character is on Prodigy as well. So he is connected to the animated series Prodigy. So because they kind of own the character of Harry Kim at the moment, they felt it wouldn't make sense to have him on there. So another disappointment that we didn't get to see him, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all of these guys are on day rates as part of the Screen Actors Guild. So even if you need them for 5 minutes, you're paying a lot for 5 minutes.
You may be.
So all and that does add up. Yeah. Like that racks up, especially when most of these guys are not on a probably day rate. Mm-hmm. They're probably because they're considered a guest star, etc., etc. So I know, the best part of that quote is the endgame piece, because you don't have Disney money here. You have Paramount money.
Exactly.
Not the same.
Excellent. Great stuff. Thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks for that. We also got a note from Liam Sinclair, who had this to say. Akadra, which is my friends, I believe, in Irish.
That's right, Chris. Well done.
Yay, I got that. Well done, Liam. Thank you. I've been listening to your show for all 3 seasons of Picard. So hard to find good podcasts that match the TV I like to watch. Keep up the good work. Always meant to have a go at the quiz. This year, I'm lucky enough to have been up all night with a stomach bug, so I rewatched every episode and took a stab at it. Best, Liam. Well, Liam,
excellent.
Your stomach bug has won out.
Yes.
It has given you the end and 2 Steiners so that you may drink yourself another stomach bug.
Yes, or cure a stomach bug.
Yeah, potentially.
If you fill it maybe with brandy.
Or a hot whiskey.
Or a hot
2
whiskey.
Steins of hot whiskey.
Use that cheap stuff, Jameson's.
Right.
Yes.
Once again, I know John's a doctor, but do not take medical advice from John.
No, seriously, don't. It doesn't work, actually. I have a tragic story that I cannot talk about over the airwaves.
Nope.
That involves the stomach bug and trying to treat it with alcohol.
Yeah, not a good idea.
Not a good outcome.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Liam.
Thanks so much, Liam.
Yeah, great stuff. Thanks, Liam. Over on Facebook, Victor Von Doom had some thoughts on the finale and said, bravo. There was some serious cleanup on Isle Sector 001. I feel what really saved the day was Picard's love for Jack. Not even the Borg could overcome that. Nice to see the Borg finally put to bed, I hope. Is a 7 Raffi and Jack series in the offing? Perhaps Q's son could have appeared to Jack in keeping with the theme of The Last Generation. I would like to see some episodes where Soji and Wesley meet his brother Jack. Bravissimo. Good stuff. Thanks, Victor. I mean, to be honest, I really hope this threesome of 7, Raffi and Jack comes into play, to be honest. I think it could be quite exciting to watch. Certainly after this series. And certainly, Jerry Ryan, who plays 7 of 9, she has been getting some serious love on Twitter for the role. And, you know, I think there's certainly a lot of people that would like to see her captain the Enterprise.
Absolutely.
So it'd be interesting if they kind of go that way or not.
Yeah, we need to hear her version of Engage, or Make It So.
Absolutely.
Whatever her version is going to be. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, and I like the idea of having Q's son, given season 2. It was a surprise to see Q there, actually.
Yeah.
But I get he's a god. He's omnipotent. He's all over the place. You know?
And once again, this was filmed back to back with season 2, so John Delancey did know he was coming back for season 3 when filming the end of the season. We just didn't know as the audience.
Yes,
that's all.
Exactly.
Stop thinking so linearly, as he says. Great stuff. Thanks, Victor. Richard Blaze simply says, "Goodbye, TNG. You will be missed."
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Dr. Bob Phillips says, Data Skywalker, gender flipping for the subsequent generation, admirable admiral overlords, and the greatest poker game in the galaxy made this the near perfect finale to a brilliant season 3.
Excellent stuff, Dr. Bob. Yeah, totally greatest poker game in the galaxy. I think I read somewhere how they really just lingered on it. And was it even that Patrick Stewart wasn't entirely sure whether it would work, but when he saw it, it did just hit you in the gut. The nostalgia high, everything to do with those poker games.
They filmed for full 45 minutes of just that poker game, and that's the bit that they clipped out was just this here. But there's a full 45 minutes of them sitting around the table, all bantering with each other and chatting with each other in character.
And they must have had an actual game.
Yeah,
I guess.
So. Yeah.
Can they actually play poker?
I think so.
Was it real poker? It's just like,
why not?
Connect 4.
I would have
fish.
lost 1,000 million non-existent Federation credits, I guess. Thank God money isn't in the Star Trek
Money
universe.
isn't real.
Exactly. It's about the fun and the game of chance, right?
Exactly.
Good stuff. Thanks, Dr. Bob.
Thanks, Dr. Bob.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Bob.
Finally, Heather Wallace had this to say: I enjoyed this season so much. I'd happily watch hours of the original Next Gen crew hanging out and chatting over some bad Chateau Picard wine. The affection they have for each other is so obvious and brings so much delight to the series. In the first season, LeVar Burton was on set when the scenes with Patrick Stewart, Jonathan Frakes, Marina Sitlis were being filmed just to hang out and give support. I love that. It's a fitting end for the series that Jean-Luc faced the Borg Queen again, and wasn't she scary? As he said, it was the time to end what had begun 35 years ago. And given that time frame, maybe supposedly 20-ish, Jack Crusher actually looks 35, because that's when the Borg DNA infected Picard. Yeah, it's a stretch, I know, but no less than expecting us to believe he's in his 20s. For all the great and emotional moments in the series, the most powerful one for me was the conversation between Will and Deanna about grief. It didn't drive the plot forward as such, although there was a payoff in Troy sensing Riker's goodbye, but it was so true and authentic. A lot of us original Next Gen fans are of an age where we have lost loved ones, and I really felt this was a message from everyone involved saying, we see you, we're with you. I teared up a lot in this series, but I've also cheered a lot too. I'm so glad it's had its run. Thank you so much, Heather. And yeah, that scene, that conversation was just poetic, well written, and well kind of delivered by these
absolutely.
two characters.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, I just from personal experience, you know, I would watch Star Trek original series and then The Next Generation with my dad, who's now gone. And so, like, it is really, you know, there's a sentiment there as well, watching these characters that, you know, you have these great memories of.
Absolutely.
For sure. Also, Heather, I was just thinking, I have no idea how old Jack Crusher actually is, but it would be awful if he was like under 20.
He's
he just
not,
looked
no.
really old.
No, the actor is in his 30s, definitely.
Maybe he drank a lot at university or something. I don't know. Something like that.
I feel they cast him, didn't realize that the plot was going to call for everybody having to be under 25 that was under control of the the Borg. So they had to go, we have to change his age. Does it make sense? It's fine. It's the galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, 24 and a half. Maybe he just made the cut.
I just made a Star Wars reference there. I'm not proud of it, but it's staying in. Sorry about that. Heather, I couldn't agree with you more, though. I'm really glad this series got the chance to accomplish this third season. You know, we have liked the first two seasons. We're not hugely negative here on the first two seasons, but bar none, this is the best season that they have produced of Picard. It's really, really good. The fact that they had the ability to produce it and put it out there and we all got to see it, I'm delighted it did end off on such a high. So if we do see these characters in the future in any other projects, yeah, that's great. But they've ended this show on such a great high that I'm really happy if this is the last thing that the TNG cast do. It's a great closer for them, right?
I think just one final bit of feedback then. It is a voicemail from Matt Murdoch. Some musical thoughts on Star Trek Picard.
Yes, great to hear from Matt. Here he is.
Hey there, TV podcast industries and Star Trek fans everywhere. Double M, Matt Murdoch here with you. And I don't have any feedback for the finale, but I do have a top 5 list of musical moments for Picard Season 3. Here we go. Number 5. Actually, I'm not going to play this one, but it is something that I found very wonderful, and that was the use of classical music in the part 3 of this season. You heard some Mozart, some Berlioz. It was wonderful. So that's number 5. Number 4 is the use of the old Klingon theme, Jerry Goldsmith's theme from Star Trek The Motion Picture. And that was used for Worf's entrance in the 2nd episode of this season, and again used in the 5th episode when he was training Raffi. That, of course, sounds like this. Number 3 was the playing of the Voyager theme when Seven shows Jack the ship and talks about being reborn there. And that was during part 6, like this. Number 2 is something I think I actually sent an MP3 in for you guys about. In fact, the top 2 both do. But number 2 was the rising bass line under the Star Trek theme in episode 4 when Riker gives Picard the con so that he can lead the ship. It sounded like this. And finally, after all season trying to figure out what this theme meant or what it was for, and it could still be a combination of Picard's old crew and the Titan itself, but it was used so much throughout the season that the introduction of it seems very important now, back in episode 1, as the Titan departs Starbase. And those are my top 5 musical moments for season 3, the final season of Picard. Thanks to TV Podcast Industries for doing a great podcast on this, and to all of their fans who wrote in with their thoughts, feelings, theories, etc. It's been a wonderful listen, and I'll take off now into warp by saying engage.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Matt. Great to have you listening along with us, and great to hear your musical thoughts from the series. The top 5 musical thoughts. It's something I just couldn't do for the show. I love the music, of course. There's so many iconic tunes that are within the Star Trek universe, but Matt has such a great way of picking out moments that I would have missed if it wasn't for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good to get your musical thoughts there, Matt. Keep them coming in for the other shows as well. Really enjoy listening to your thoughts there. Great stuff.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I was expecting, I'm not going to lie, I was expecting you to actually have the warp sound out there.
I know.
Just because you have that ability. Where there is a will, there is a Matt.
There you go. There you go. Good stuff. Thanks so much. And thanks to everybody who's been sending in your feedback throughout this season. Exactly as Matt said, it's been great hearing your thoughts and your enjoyment of the series along with ourselves throughout the show. That is the end of our coverage of Star Trek Picard. Thanks so much for joining us for this season and all 3 seasons of Star Trek Picard. Please make sure you subscribe to the podcast over on tvpodcastindustries.com. If you want to hear more from us, there's loads more stuff coming up. We are staying in space for our other episode this week, where we're discussing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the latest movie in the MCU. We'll also be discussing Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the sequel, of course, to Into the Spider-Verse, which is coming next month. And then we'll be back to weekly TV once again with Marvel's Secret Invasion. Can't wait for that. The Nick Fury starring MCU show coming on Disney Plus from June 21st. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope you'll join us for something else in the future.
Yes. Thank you so much. And make sure you subscribe on all Federation, Romulan, Vulcan, whatever your podcast catcher of choice is, or just head on to tvpodcastindustries.com and that will give you all the link-a-loos. If you really like what you hear, if you've enjoyed all seasons of the podcast, make sure you rate and subscribe and like and share the podcast with all your friends and family and Starfleet crews. There you have it. Your crewmates need to know about us. If you're in the Navy, in the Starfleet, in the Army, wherever you are, tell people about us because they need to know. Yes, thank you so much. And if you really enjoyed us, why not head on over to patreon.com/TV Podcast Industries. Although in time of Starfleet, they don't have real money, they don't have credits, they do have drugs, but we're not asking for your drugs. We're asking for your money. If you would like to give us any ongoing monthly amount, you can by heading over to patreon.com/TV Podcast Industries. Or if you want to give us a one-off donation, you can head on over to buymeacoffee.com/TVPI, where you can keep Derek in caffeine. It's not technically a drug. It's real. You can give him a coffee. There you go. Yes. Keep him edited into the wee hours.
Okay, hands up, fellow Trekkies and Trekkers who thought Chris was going to go for it. Send us money through Patreon so we can buy our own drugs, because I absolutely did. Only caffeine passes these tests. Maybe caffeine. The occasional glass of wine while I'm editing
Chateau
to the wee hours.
And quite a lot of margaritas.
Quite a lot of margaritas.
3 weeks.
Yes, Mexico is great for the margaritas. Brilliant stuff. Thanks again for joining us. We'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, fellow Trekkies and Trekkers. I cannot wait to catch up with you again when we take on our new TV shows and movies that are coming out as well. But in the meantime, remember, keep watching, keep listening, and of course, make it so.
Bye.
Bye. Engage!